Hi, my name is John Burns and I'm the founder of Skateworks. What is Skateworks? Skateworks designed a trade pathway creating a permanent change for Ethiopian street youth. Skateworks' 6-week trade course for street youth gives them vocational education through metal fabrication training and certification for that training, combining with the hook of skateboarding. This is an unusual mix between action sport and vocational training, but both have goal-setting benchmarks as they go through the course and can be tied in metaphorically to give the kids advancement and a pathway back to normal life, safety, and all that you and I enjoy, all with the stoke of skateboarding. So why skateboarding? Skateworks outreach projects in Ethiopia has used the connectivity and the hook of skateboarding to not only bring children back to education, but to crush the religious and cultural divides in a marginalised land interwoven by some 80 languages and 200 dialects of those languages. Previously ravished by war and famine as we know, Ethiopia is a rapidly growing nation today. However, street children still slip through the cracks with no means or bridge to take them from the streets to a steady job and the security and growth that employment embodies, and to take them back home to be reunited with their families. Skateworks provides that bridge. The inherent benchmark setting and goal attainment aspects of skateboarding is invaluable as a learning tool, especially when combined with skateboarding's connectivity and exclusiveness, and combined with the benchmarks and goal setting of vocational training. They go up side by side in unison, creating a pathway back home that's permanent and one way. You can't unlearn skateboarding and you can't unlearn a trade. Skateworks projects in the Hara region, which suffer rampant division between Islam and Christian groups, Oromo and Amara peoples, has time and time again revealed stories of potential leaders, teachers, guides and mentors in their communities when connected through skateboarding. Barriers are broken down and it is replaced with a level playing field that only action sports and trade can provide. By utilising skateboarding through setting a goal and repeated effort while tweaking technique, the process can be likened to life efforts emotionally, creatively and educationally. Let me give you a little bit of an example of the way that Skateworks links socioeconomic, religious and cultural divide. A few years ago, we rode our skateboards 517 kilometres across Ethiopia. In that journey, we went through deserts, we went through green areas, we went through areas that were highly populated, and we went through areas that were underpopulated. One of the commonalities throughout that entire area is that previously and historically they were ravished by war and are now getting back on their feet. However, they are still divided culturally and in some instances religiously. We came into a small village called Bordade. In Bordade, it literally, the main road, it's Christian on one side of the street and it's Muslim on the other side of the street, and they even have 2 flags. They live peacefully side by side, but they're not unified. We rode into town and we had kids converge on us straight away. This worried and disturbed the parents and made the parents on both sides somewhat nervous. But through kids interacting with parents on both sides and us teaching kids and some of the parents on both sides, in like 5 minutes, both sides were just unified through skateboarding and laughter and fun. And this is why skateboarding, and especially through Skateworks, is the little wooden bridge from the street to the classroom. That village was unified so much that at the end of 3 days, 2 flags were on one side of the street. So why are we using metal fabrication in Skateworks as the fundamental trade as our vocational training in Ethiopia? Why not carpentry or plumbing or electrician or one of the other trades? Timber is not in plentiful supply. It can be obtained, but it's very expensive, so only the high-end parts of society can use that. Whereas the greater majority are using steel for everything that you and I know as being timber. Window frames, door shutters, front doors, gates, all of those sorts of things are all made out of steel. And finally, how does the course actually work? Skateworks runs a 6 weeks trade course. For any of you out there that are in the trades, this is really amazing. Supply chain to get welders to Ethiopia was cost and supply chain prohibitive. So the first thing that the kids do in their first week is make a welder from scratch through local parts that are obtainable in Addis Ababa. In the first week they make their welder. In the second week they learn how to fix it. The R&D for these welders was all done in Melbourne, Australia. They have 4 kill switches, and these welders are actually safer than the ones that you're going to buy that are mass produced from China in your local Bunnings or hardware store. More importantly, the kids know them inside and out. When I say kids, they are 13 years and over. These are not little children. In weeks 3, 4, 5 and 6, the fundamentals of metal fabrication welding are taught to our students. Welding, finishing, grinding, and the completion for assessment of a steel kicker. The reason why we do that is because it's the combination of skateboarding and vocational training. Skateworks has been running its vocational combined with skateboarding project for 4 years in Ethiopia. We have many students all over rural Ethiopia that are being returned back to their villages. So it stands to reason that we will get continuous kids going back to the same villages. When we find that there's a child that's going back to a village that we've had a preceding student, rather than making a steel kicker, then in this instance they would make a steel transition, a corner transition, or a steel fun box, or it might be a spine. It will be made and designed to combine with the initial students that have been returned back to the villages, kicker or corner transition. So this means that small steel skate parks are popping up all over rural Ethiopia because of these students being returned home through vocational training and skateboarding. So therefore the motivation of skateboarding spreads right the way across the village. And through our sub-project Recycle Fun, we are able to supply used skateboard gear and skateboarding safety equipment to those villages to make sure that they're doing it properly. We then subsequently bring in skate pros from the States, from Australia and from Europe, and they come in and teach skate skills within those villages to make sure that it's not only being done safely, but their skate journey is continuing, and the stoke of skateboarding and the goal setting and career pathway of vocational training is providing a never-ending series of change and solutions for Indigenous life in Ethiopia. So now down to results. Over the 4 years of Skateworks being in Ethiopia, how many Ethiopian youth have been returned back home safely through trade and skateboarding? 2,631 youth returned home, continuously monitored after they've been returned home. Some of those have gone forward to becoming full-time tradespeople. Others have gone on and trained their brothers and sisters or their father and have then changed that household from a farming household to a trade-based household, and that has allowed that student to then return to scholastic education, and some of those students have gone on to university. So hopefully you found this video informative, interesting. So go rip that hill, be safe, and have an awesome time. Thanks guys, bye.